This is your guide for day one jiu-jitsu. Not only am I going to help you maintain your self-respect and respect for others, but I'm going to help clear up any confusion or worries or anxiety you have about stepping foot into your jiu-jitsu gym on day one. So with that, let's dive in. In my 10 years of training jiu-jitsu, I've seen plenty of day one beginners. And there are some things that you should know before you walk in the door. There's just not a lot of content out there to help you know what that is. Well, you know I got you covered. So let's dive right in. And first we're gonna start with uniforms. Now, this all depends on what kind of jiu-jitsu school you're going to. Some schools only train no gi. Some schools really focus on gi. If you go to a school like Grindstone, you're gonna do no gi and gi. So to make your life easier, I'm gonna cover both. First off, you're gonna have to buy your uniform. So whether your school provides those or you buy them online, both are totally fine, and that's your preference. Now, when you buy your gi, you're gonna notice that this is a very thick material. That is because these are very durable and they are made to be nearly impossible to rip. Jiu-jitsu gis or kimonos are much more different than ones that you would find in karate or taekwondo. They are thicker, more durable, much more harder to rip. And that's a good thing because in gi training, we weaponize our clothing. Let's talk about putting the gi on. Now, the first place I see beginners struggle is putting the pants on, right? Not necessarily putting the pants on, but tightening them. There is a certain way to pull your drawstrings. And as we see here, I cross the strings and I basically do tricep extensions rapidly left and right. If you try to just tighten it like a shoe, it's probably not gonna work. What I usually see is beginners try one big tug on these strings and then they tie the pants that way, and it's very sloppy and unkept, and it's very obvious that you don't know what you're doing. So you're gonna make sure you're gonna rapid fire alternating pulls on both of your drawstrings to get those pants nice, tight, and even. And then from there, you can do a simple shoelace tie for the knot. Now next, I'm going to recommend that you wear a rash guard, which is a no-gi compression top underneath your gi top. Now certain schools, that's not the culture there. Some schools only wear gi tops and they're bare-chested underneath. You're gonna have to feel this one out for yourself. I think the safe bet is just to wear the rash guard because some places can see that as a little disrespectful. It's kind of nasty to have your bare skin exposed. Not everybody wants your sweaty skin on their skin. Out of respect, it's good to just go ahead and get yourself some rash guards and use those underneath your gi. Now comes the time to put your gi top on. We're gonna put this on and notice what I'm doing. I'm putting the right lapel down against my body first, and then the left lapel wraps over top of the right lapel. And from here, we can go ahead and put our belt on. Now, there are multiple kinds of knots that you can tie with your belt. And this is a beginner's video, so I'm going to show a very basic knot that'll get you started. If you want to do a deeper dive, you can find all kinds of cool knots that you can do. But this one is a favorite of mine. It doesn't come untied very easily, which is a good thing. You know, you don't want your belt constantly coming off while you're rolling. It's going to happen regardless. That's totally normal, but this specific knot will help with that. So as we check the example, you're noticing here that I'm finding the center line, right? I'm going to fold the belt so both ends of the belt are in line with each other. Then I run my hands down the belt and find the center line. Now, what I'm gonna do is put that center line against my belly button over top of the gi with the right lapel in first and then the left lapel wrapped over top. What I want to make sure is that when I'm doing this, I want the bar of my belt. So if you're a white belt, it would be a black bar. On my belt, it's a red bar. You want to make sure that your bar is hanging on the right side, because when you're done with this, you want your bar to be on the left side of your knot. So I go ahead and find that center line. I put that center line just below where my belly button would be, and I wrap that belt around my waist once and bring the ends back to the front. Now the fun part, the knot. The bar side of the belt ends up on top. I'm then gonna take the bar end and put that underneath both layers of my belt. I pull that back up and it aims upwards. Now I'm gonna take that empty end, I'm gonna put it underneath the two top layers of that belt. Now the bar end of the belt will flip back up, and as you can see where I'm inserting it, I'm only going one belt layer deep here, okay? Once I slide that through enough to grab the other end, I grab both ends of the belt and I pull them away from the knot, which essentially ties the knot nice and tight. As you can see here, this is what the finished version should look like. If yours isn't just like this, it's not a big deal. You're a beginner, it's totally fine. I mean, this belt was just awarded to me and it's still a bit stiff. And to be honest with you, I'm probably gonna put this one in a shadow box. I'm not gonna wear this one consistently. I have another one that I ordered that I will compete in and teach in. Obviously, no big deal if you have to ask for help from someone. Everybody's great, they're willing to help, and we've all been there. Keep that in mind. You're walking in on day one. Everyone that you're in this room with had a day one, and we all went through the same struggles, which is one of the reasons why I want to do this video, so that you have a little bit of guidance navigating that first day. Most people don't realize this, but your gear can either help you or hold you back. Now, I've been training in jiu-jitsu gear for a long time, and most of it looks good online, but falls apart when it actually matters. That's exactly why I wear X Martial. This isn't just clean designs, it's performance-built gear. You get a compression fit that actually moves with you, durability that holds up during the hardest of rounds, and designs that don't look like every other basic rash guard on the mat. Whether you're drilling, competing, or going to war with one of your favorite training partners, X Martial is built for it. It's lightweight, it's breathable, and it's made for people who actually train. If you're serious about your jiu-jitsu, your attire should match that. So go check out X Martial, grab yourself a set or 2 or 3, and if you're smart, you use my code IRONWILL to save yourself some money. Train harder, roll longer, and look sharp doing it. Let's get back to the video. Now let's touch on sizes of the gi real quick, because you're not going to see small, medium, large. You're going to have A1, A2, A3. You've got A2L, A2H, right? What does all this stuff mean? Well, first off, I'm going to tell you, don't be afraid to use the size chart, okay? If you've never put a gi on before, it's probably a really good idea to check the size chart. A1 is smaller, A2 is a little bit bigger, A3 is a little bit bigger, A4 is pretty big, right? You see the trend here, you see the pattern. Now, if you're someone who's a little bit taller and thinner, you're going to want to look for an L or a long, so an A2L. If you're someone who's a little bit heavier, you're going to look for, let's say, an A3H. The H usually stands for heavy or husky. So if you're a little bit bigger boned, H is going to be the way to go. For me, just to give you reference, I'm 5'11", and I float anywhere from 205 to 212 pounds, and I usually wear an A3. One thing I can tell you, you don't want a very baggy gi. To put it plainly, it's just gonna make your life a little bit harder in here, because it gives everyone more to grab onto, but also it gives an unrealistic training experience to your partners, because the people they're gonna be facing in tournaments aren't usually gonna have big baggy gis like that. There's regulations for gis, right? You can't have them too tight, but you really shouldn't have them crazy loose either. You want them to be somewhat fitted. You guys have watched me for a while, you know, like some bagginess is totally fine. It's really important to have a gi that fits, because you don't want something that's too tight. You're not gonna be able to use that in a tournament anyways. It restricts your movements. And also, if you get a gi that's too big, you're gonna have handles all over you, more so than you need. And it's just gonna create an unrealistic training experience for your training partners, because if they're competing, their opponents aren't gonna have baggy gis. But again, that's what this video is for, to help you out in that journey. Now I wanna touch on rash guard sizes real quick. Again, use your size chart, but rash guards are meant to fit tightly. Now with that being said, the first rash guard I ever ordered was too tight, because I ordered it like it was a t-shirt, right? I ordered a large and I could not squeeze into it. It was skin tight. So I got to jump up a size. If I order large t-shirts, I need extra large gi tops. It's just how it is. So keep that in mind as you order your stuff. Shorts are pretty squared away. I usually wear a large for my shorts. It's what I wear in regular shorts anyway. So if you've got a 32-inch waist, I wear a large usually, but again, the size chart is your friend. Don't be afraid to use it. This next chapter is probably more important even than the first one, and that's hygiene. Make sure you're coming in to jiu-jitsu showered and clean. One of the best ways to make everybody dislike you is to be a stink bomb, to have bad hygiene, right? You got to take care of yourself. So shower, brush your teeth, wear deodorant, the basic stuff, right? This is not new for you, but I understand that sometimes we're trying to cram a lot of things in a day. Please make sure that you've got yourself cleaned up before you come into jiu-jitsu. That also includes clipping your nails. Now, this is a two-part thing, because nobody wants to get scratched by your toenails or your fingernails. But when we're wearing the gi, if your fingernails aren't clipped to the proper length, nice and short, you know, be ready to have those things peeled off your skin. It's not fun, right? You're gonna be grabbing onto this strong material. There's gonna be a lot of force. You're gonna be pulling, your opponent's gonna be pulling away from you. And the last thing you want is to have long fingernails gripping into a gi, your opponent pulls away, and your fingernail goes with it. Make sure you stay nice and trimmed. It's for you and your partner. Another thing that we can talk about in the hygiene chapter that a lot of beginners seem to forget, only bare feet on the mats. If you're walking around outside of the mats, whether it be the general walking area or the bathroom or the parking lot, you're making it harder on everyone else because your bare feet are then bringing back in to the mats whatever was outside of the mats. This is one of the ways that skin infections can occur. So be a good training partner, and anytime you leave the mats, make sure your slides and shoes go back on, and anytime you go onto the mats, your slides and shoes come off. Now, when it comes to washing your uniform, whether it be gi or no gi, I prefer to wash my stuff in a cold cycle. I also like to wash my gis in a delicate cycle, right? This stuff is made of fabric, it's very strong, but over time it can break down. And if you want to get the most out of your gis, you want to be gentle with them when it comes time to wash. What I also like to do is I like to hang dry my gis. You know, putting them in the dryer tends to break down the material if done consistently. So it's okay once in a while, but I really prefer to get the most out of my gis is just to hang them up over a door or a chair in my house. I don't have a clothesline out the back. If you do, go ahead and use it, but I think as far as making your gis last a little bit longer, hang drying is the way to go. With that said, there have been a couple times where I'd wash my gi in the morning and I'm like, I don't have time to hang dry it. I need this for training in a couple hours. Then I'll throw it in the dryer and wash it and be done with it. But it is not something that I'm consistently doing. And all my gis last a really long time. I get a lot of use out of my gis because I put in the extra effort to make sure they last long. Now, the last chapter is just addressing some of the anxieties that can come with being a day one white belt. First off, if you don't have experience in judo or wrestling, you're not going to be allowed to spar. So if you're not familiar, sparring is basically the fighting portion of training. It's where you and a partner are really trying to defeat each other. And for people who've never done this before, it can be nerve-wracking, it can be a little scary, it can be anxiety-inducing. If you are that new, right, you don't have any experience anywhere else, you're not going to be allowed to spar anyways. So just go to the school, get your drilling in or your reps in or however it is that they train, and enjoy it. Try to soak up as much knowledge as you can and understand that you're not going to have to test yourself against a purple belt or a brown belt or whatever it may be. You're not going to have to test yourself even against other white belts. Now, with that being said, once it is time to spar, I will say that the upper ranks are the safest butt whoopings you're going to get. You know, you roll with a black belt, people can really overinflate this in their minds thinking, oh my God, he's a black belt, he's going to destroy me. Yeah, you're going to get destroyed, but you're not going to get injured. There's a big difference there. And some of the most dangerous matches are when two people who don't know anything, very new white belts, face each other. There's a lot of explosive power in weird angles that don't make sense, and it's just ingredients for disaster. So don't shy away from the upper ranks when it's time to roll. Not only will you be safer, they are more likely to teach you stuff. I remember I had a couple black belts and a brown belt take me under their wing when I first started. And I learned a lot in that first year just from hanging with them and rolling with them and getting breakdowns from them, right? Them pointing out what I was doing wrong and what I can do better. You're not going to get that from rolling with other white belts. So think about it like that. Upper belts have the capability to absolutely end you, but they won't. It's going to be safe and you're going to learn. It's pretty good. And the biggest tip I can give you is probably to just be patient with yourself. Give yourself room for grace because you're not going to be good at this. You're just not going to be. And those who really struggle with this are people who are high performers elsewhere in life, whether that be in a sport or a hobby or a job, or maybe you're a really good parent. People like that struggle when they're not good at something else. Jiu-Jitsu is a very complex martial art, and it is the slowest progressing belt system in all of martial arts. It takes anywhere from 10 to 15 years, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, to get a black belt. And you can't get one as a kid. This is an information-rich martial art. It's gonna take time, and that's how it is for everyone. Do not beat yourself up when you're lost, because you're gonna be lost as a white belt. That's just the nature of the game. In fact, embrace that. I want you to be aware, okay? You're gonna be developing so many new skills while being lost without even realizing it. Embrace it and be patient with yourself, right? You're not gonna be a black belt after 3 months of this, 4 months of this, 6 months of this, 5 years of this, okay? So try to collect as much information as possible. Be patient and just enjoy the ride. And as always, come back for more videos here. I drop new videos every Monday. I focus a lot of my content on beginners. So if you're looking for more guidance, you're in the right place. With that, those of you who've been around for a while, you know how we like to end these. Sometimes backwards, always forwards. Don't forget to send this to a newbie, and I'll see you in the next one.